Ohio and Kentucky Bar Associations require we give the addresses of the attorneys on the show, so here we go. For today we have Penny Hendy at Schachter, Hendy & Johnson, 909 Wright Summit Parkway, Suite 210, Fort Wright 41011, 859-578-4444, and Don Moore, of course, the Moore Law Firm, 1060 Nimitzview Drive, Cincinnati 45230-232-2000. Of course, you can get all of this information at Fox19.com. And if you aren't able to watch the show some Monday and you want to catch up on what you missed, you can always go to Fox19.com and look at our past shows. Don, one of the things that we always talk about whenever we talk about all about injuries are the contingency fees that I think people, maybe you're afraid to call an attorney because you can't even imagine a 5 or 10-year lawsuit like you were talking about. Yep. But the reality is people don't get charged to walk into your offices.
Well, you're right, Deb, and the thing is, when we're talking about how long it takes to pursue a lawsuit, sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it's shorter. Oftentimes, when we represent someone, we never have to file suit because we can actually settle the case with either the insurance carrier or the company that caused the problem in the first place. So we try and do that because sometimes that's the shortest distance between 2 points. But there are very harsh deadlines, statute of limitations, that apply in both Kentucky and Ohio for medical malpractice. You're only talking a year. And so that goes by super fast. There are some things that can affect that, but generally you just need to figure it's a year before you either have to settle or sue. For like a car wreck or something, you're talking about 2 years in both Kentucky and Ohio. For other types of cases, it varies. So that's something you really got to be careful about. It's not something you can take for granted. Once you get it in the hands of the lawyer, then the lawyer's going to handle it however long that it takes to handle the case. They're going to do it. And some, you get in litigation, sometimes cases get continued. It just varies. Right. So how long does it take to make a recovery? Well, it's kind of like how long is a piece of string. It's just it just depends on how long it's going to take.
Right. And you've had people who've come in you mentioned days past the statute of limitations, and there's just nothing you can do for them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's difficult. There are some nuances in some torts of law, like in medical malpractice, there's some issues with continuing to treat or not discovering the injury, those type of things. And in Kentucky, we have under automobile collisions, we have no fault, where you pay medical benefits, and that can extend the statute of limitations up to 4 years. So it really just depends. There are some nuances, so it's always great to get an attorney's advice and to get specific information to them so that you can make sure that you get sound advice.
When somebody does come into your office, what are some things they need to know as they walk in the door?
I think they need to know as they walk in the door that we're there to help them and advise them. So it's important for them to give us all the information, give us everything they can, bring all the documents they have with us, and just with them, and let us know what's going on with them and what their concerns are too. Why are they there to see us, and what do they hope to recover, or what do they hope to do by pursuing litigation?
Okay. Let's get back to the phones now. We have Mary in Cincinnati. Mary, I understand you were injured at work back in 1999, and you're trying to figure out if you are still able to file a suit?
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about what happened.
I had an MR client body slam me in a shower and left me total disabled. And all I got was a year wages paid because they said the law in Ohio, you're not allowed to sue a MR company, and I found out years later, yes, you are.
But does this come down to the point of even if you didn't know, the law is still the law? Or?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, Mary, with respect to the workers' comp aspect, it sounds as if a workers' compensation claim was open because you got compensation for a year. So I would strongly suggest you talk to a workers' comp lawyer, because if that's been open and if it wasn't closed or settled completely, it may continue and you may still have the ability to further recover. With respect to, you said an MR employee, if you're talking about an employee who is a fellow employee and you're going to try and sue them, typically they have immunity for negligence. However, what you just said sounds like an intentional act. If this person had the mental ability to form intent, in other words, basically they were not mentally handicapped to a point where they didn't understand right from wrong, then, and that's an intentional act, you only had a year to make a claim against them, and quite frankly, a claim against them wouldn't be worth anything. You can't get insurance to cover an intentional act. So, and they probably don't have any cash. So we sometimes run into that where you've got a great claim against someone, but if they've got no money, then it doesn't mean anything.
We just have about a minute left, but here's what I always wanted to know. How do you not get caught up in all the emotion? Dawn, you've made videos of some of your cases that I've seen, and you know, you just tear up seeing some of the things that happen to people. How do you not get emotionally involved in that?
Oh, I think it's absolutely true. I think we as lawyers are very passionate about what we do, and that passion makes us better lawyers. The difference is remaining not so involved that we can level-headedly make the right decisions in all litigation. Does it affect us as human beings? Oh, absolutely. But we are trained to overcome that, and that passion then helps us present our case to juries and to other people who might be responsible for paying for our clients' injuries.
Well, and I guess you need some people, there has to be some emotion. The juries have to see that, you know, people were really impacted. Like I said, some of the stories that you talk about, I can't stand it.
Well, I know Penny very well, and she is very good at this, and I try and be very good, and that is you have to have your heart in your case and what you do. If you don't, you're just not as good. Now, there is one thing that I wanted to mention. I've had several people talk to me. We've covered information. We put lists on the screen from time to time. We talk about elements of the law. You can go to Fox 19 anytime and click on More Law, and you can see videos online of our show. So if you want to go back and see any show, if there's something you missed you want to catch, you're welcome to do that anytime you can.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. Penny, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Come back sometime.
Absolutely.
Please do.
And next week we'll be talking, go ahead and ask us anything. That's next week on More Law. We will see you next Monday morning at 9:30. Have a great week.